Welcome to The Business Behind Your Business, the podcast where we delve into the financial strategies and insights that drive success for small and medium-sized business owners. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney, and in each episode we bring you expert guests who share practical advice, real-world experiences, and actionable tips to empower you on your business journey. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, get ready to uncover the secrets to success and gain valuable insights into the business behind your business. So welcome back to the Business Behind Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney, and today we're going to address this big issue for a lot of small business owners. Over the initial excitement of running a business, at some stage you are going to find yourself in this situation where you feel completely stuck, you feel grounded, you cannot move forward, you're at a standstill and you don't know where to go. What should be your next step? How do you move from the situation you're in where things don't seem to be working, you don't seem to be making progress? How do you move forward? How do you become unstuck? And running a business can feel like that at times, like you're pushing a boulder uphill, that despite your best intentions, your best efforts, you're not making any progress. And it can be quite, it's not a great feeling. It can be depressing. It can cause anxiety. It can make you question why you started your business in the first place. Now, we want to help you move beyond that point. We want to help you become unstuck. We want to help you move forward with your business. And in this episode, we're going to explore how you, as the leader of your business, you can change the way that you approach your style, your mindset, and the habits that you don't know that you've got, but are causing you to be in that position. They're holding you back, slowing you down. And we're going to actually unlock some of the tips to how you can build some real momentum, shift from the situation you are where you're unstuck to moving forward with momentum and growing your business and just feeling great about the whole process. And look, I'm delighted today because we have Liz Wolfe with us, and she is a business coach, speaker, founder of Liz Wolfe Consulting. Over 25 years of experience helping entrepreneurs and business owners just like you. She's developed a very powerful coaching system built on 3 pillars: ask powerfully, give wholeheartedly, receive graciously. And, we share a bit of a common background here because Liz started her journey on a family farm, turning cottage industry, learned firsthand that hard work is not always going to be the thing that gets you through. It's not always enough. Today, she's helping business owners everywhere uncover those hidden barriers, clarify vision, and take some purposeful action to create breakthrough results. So, Liz, I must confess, I didn't grow up on a farm, but I grew up in a small farming community. So there's a lot of connection there with understanding, the basis of small business and how we need to move forward. And I've seen a lot of people work very hard for very few results. Liz, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Business Behind Your Business.
Well, thank you so much. I think we also share more than just a farming background, but there's a lot of sheep in my world, and I think there's a lot of sheep in your world as well. So I grew up on a sheep farm, which, there's a joke there. If you know, my last name is Wolfe, and I grew up on a farm, then you know that. So yes, farming was a big part of my entrepreneurial journey because we were basically trying to figure out as a family how to survive and how to make money and create a life for ourselves, which is something that entrepreneurs do every single day.
Yeah, look, so many businesses work hard and farmers are no exception. And I've done a lot of work in the past working with farming communities, farming families to help them look at how they can, work smarter in their business. And because, as an industry, they work particularly hard and sometimes for very, very few results. So definitely some common background there. Working hard, though, doesn't seem to be the solution a lot of the times. There's something else that comes in to play. Why is it that we probably, think that we've got to work harder when we're in that situation where we're not making progress?
I think it's this work ethic that we were taught. We always got to work hard to make something of yourself. It's actually a very common entrepreneurial myth that the only way to make it is to work hard. And part of that, one aspect of that is discipline. You have to be really disciplined. You have to be really good at time management. And a lot of people don't feel like they're very disciplined, or they're tired and they don't want to work that hard. And there are two other things, not just working hard, but there's another sort of, I don't want to know if I call it a myth, but aspect of understanding around entrepreneurship, which is that you have to know the right people and you have to get really connected. And then the other one is you have to really be the guy, the one, the expert above all experts. And we all spend all our time getting credentialed and doing all these things. Or we have the opposite, which is we feel like we have this imposter syndrome because we don't feel like we're nearly as good as other people are. So these are some of the things that I think are these entrepreneurial myths that turns out even those really well-connected people are really the people that have PhDs, for crying out loud, or who are working really, really hard, don't necessarily see that result that they're looking for. And there's nothing like growing up on a farm and really understanding how hard work can be to know how little reward you can get for that effort that you put into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. I guess the one of the analogies that I like to think of is when people are working hard but not making progress, they keep digging the same hole but digging at a faster rate, not knowing that they're digging the wrong hole, or maybe they shouldn't be digging a hole to start with, having to take an assessment and say, well, hang on, the efforts that I'm putting in might not actually be in the right area for what I need to do.
That's absolutely right. And then that gets very frustrating. And that's one of the things that contributes to people feeling stuck. Hey, I thought I was doing all the right things. I thought if I worked really hard that I would have some progress, and I'm not, no matter how hard I work. And that result of that is you feel stuck, which is very discouraging. And then sometimes people will stop. I hear that from almost everyone I ever talk to, that word stuck comes up every single time. I just wait for it and then it comes up.
Yeah. I see it a lot now. I'm seeing a lot in the frustrations when I have conversations. I'm stuck with this, or I can't get past this. And I'm actually seeing a lot of new books being published on that theme of helping business owners become unstuck and how to move forward. So working hard might not necessarily be it. Now, you mentioned the well-connected people. Now, there's probably a bit of a fallacy there that a well-connected, smart person is going to be the right person to help you get through the struggle that you're having with your business. I know reading Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he sort of, I won't say ridicules, but says that the smart dad with the PhD was the one that didn't know anything about business.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's been proven over and over and over again. Isn't Bill Gates one of the people that didn't graduate or something? I don't really know his story, so that there might be misinformation, so don't take that the wrong way. But the idea there is that more and more and more education does not necessarily equate to being better at making money in your business. And by the way, we know it's not only about making money in your business, but money is certainly a measure of success. And many of us are in business because we want more money, freedom. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways in which what happens is that in comparison to, like, well, I don't have a PhD, or I'm not ICF certified, or I don't know 20,000 people, whatever it is, then we feel in comparison, we're not up to snuff. And so we lose confidence.
It's very easy to do that, particularly with social media, where you might look at what some people are posting and how many followers they've got. And really, I guess the frustration is that often you know your stuff better, you know your expertise better. It's just that they've got out and they've found a way to promote, sell, I guess sell the vision of something that's less complete, less successful, and less effective than what you can do. But they found a way, and I guess that adds to that frustration of I'm stuck. How come they're moving forward, and I know my job much better than they do?
Yeah, I'm in an accountability group with 4 or 5 women, and we will often discuss what is going to be helping us more with our business, right? So part of it is for us is we want to be establishing online courses or doing different launches, memberships, that sort of thing. And, there's nothing like a good guru to make you feel inadequate and small as you watch them have, let's say, 2,000 people join their membership or 5,000 people on their webinar or whatever that is. And first of all, I really want to say I'm very clear about this. Do not take those statistics at face value. I'm not saying people are lying about the number of followers that they have or the number of people that have joined their membership, et cetera. But what really counts is how engaged your list is. You can have 10,000 people on your list, but you can still only have 75 people or 300 people or whatever open your emails. You could have 500 people sign up for your webinar, but how many show up? How many move forward? And by the way, it's not all about big numbers like that. So the number one thing about being stuck is feeling like I'm not making progress. I'm not productive. It's not going anywhere. And I sometimes will say, okay, well, let's put this into perspective. Number one, how long have you been in business, right? Tony Robbins has been in business for a long, long, long time. And he's had many years to build up to that kind of big following, et cetera. Number two, who's on your team, right? None of these big guru-y people that have thousands of followers do it by themselves. They figured out they run ads. They figured out they hire social media people. They do all that. So I'm comparing my success, let's just say, with somebody who might have 10 people on their team. It's not a fair comparison. So one of the ways we feel stuck is we say, I should be further than I am. And if I'm comparing myself to where I think I should be, I'm always going to fall short. I'm always going to feel like I'm stuck and not getting anywhere. So let's just notice the judgment in that conversation. I should be better than I am by now.
Yeah, and I think that comparison, and that you mentioned the imposter scenario where you fall into the trap of believing that you're not good enough. What are some of the other? Somebody will blame and say, "Hang on, that's your style of leadership, or that's your personality, and that's why you can't move forward. That's why you feel like you're not good enough." Is there any truth in that?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a certain style of CEO, we'll call it CEO leadership. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't really call themselves CEOs. But if you look at an entrepreneur and you say, what's my style? And I do have a quiz on my website to help you determine what that is. But there's a idea that you should be that hardworking, hard driving, salesy kind of person who is really up in the morning, working out or whatever, and is at the office by 8 a.m. And the fact is that there actually are 4 different styles of entrepreneurs. And one style is the chief enthusiasm officer. And typically those are the people that are sort of running from one type of like a shiny object syndrome, but they have a lot of creative ideas. And the area where they will feel stuck is they won't feel like they ever made any real progress on any one thing because they're not like the chief excellence officer who supposedly can really hone in and focus and be really focused on that. But what's lacking for that excellence officer is the feeling of freedom to do something and be creative and have ideas and just follow it for the fun of it. And then you'd have the chief empowerment officer, which is somebody very focused on people, but they're so busy helping other people that they don't have success. That they're like, how do I help myself kind of thing. And then you have the chief expert officer, who is somebody who is very analytical. And again, these are on opposite corners, right? So the excellence officer is that hard driving, non-relationship person, whereas the empowerment person can't stay focused, but they know all these people. So no matter where you fall in one of these quadrants, which of course are somewhat generalized, and some of us have multiple parts of that personality in us, there's going to be the beautiful pluses of them, but then there's going to be the part where you feel stuck, where you say, why can't I concentrate long enough to get something done? Or I'm stuck in, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis, and I can never move forward. And so what we want to be doing is transformation. The first step is always awareness of our style, so that we can look at ways where we can hone our skills that will support us.
So awareness and understanding who you are is really that first step, because if you don't understand where you are, I guess you're not going to understand what are the issues that your leadership style are causing. What are the weakness? We call them a weakness, but really it's a case of I would say it's a skills shortage.
Yeah, or areas of development.
Yes. Yeah, let's avoid weakness. Let's call it, and it really is a skills shortage, because you've got as a leader, you've got a particular style which you're very good at, but you've got areas which somebody else is going to be better equipped to do. And you mentioned the successful people have built a team around them.
Yeah.
One of my concerns when I see a lot of people getting stuck is that they go and hire the same leadership style in their employee and then wonder why they don't get different results.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things that has really worked very well for me, and I've been married to my husband for, it's going to be 28 years now. And I always know how long I've been in business because we got married the same year. And he's a very different person than I am. He is more on the chief combination excellence / expert. He's much more analytical. He's the guy that does the accounting. He's the one that, he's the sales guy kind of thing. And I'm more on the other side, which is more enthusiasm and empowerment, which is more relationship built. Not to say that he doesn't have good relationship skills. The point here is that we're a great team because I can go to him and say, what's happening with finances? And then he can come to me and say, what are we doing about marketing? And he's not interested in learning more about marketing, except what he needs to know. And I'm not that much more interested in learning about accounting, nothing against accountants or anything. So yes, how can you find a partnership to find people to support you? And that's another value of learning what your entrepreneurial style is, so that you can look for other people who might complement you.
Yeah. So we've got the great starting point of understanding who you are and your style, and then looking to build your team. What are some other practical steps that you could take as an owner to, I guess, change your approach and start seeing some real progress?
Well, you mentioned in my bio where I say that there's a system, and I have what I call the 3 keys to an abundant business. And the 3 keys are ask powerfully, give wholeheartedly, and receive graciously. And if anybody is listening to this who has listened to my podcasts, other ones that I've done, you will have heard this already, but it always bears being worth repeating. So when I contrast those 3 myths we talked about earlier, like you got to work really hard and you got to have connections and you got to be a respected expert, all 3 of those are somewhat out of your realm of control. Meaning, what if you go to a networking meeting and you don't meet the right people? Or what if you don't have the PhD or master's degree or 5 years of experience or whatever? Or what if you just work differently than those hard driving chief excellence officers? So what are some immediate actions that you can take? And the single most impactful thing that you can do to make a shift is to begin to, number one, what is your vision? What do you want? It's very frustrating. Imagine this. You get in a car and you just start driving. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Let's just say that being an entrepreneur is driving in a car. But it's not driving in a car. It's driving in a car somewhere. So if you just get in a car and you just start driving without any GPS or ideas, or if you just say, I want to be in the country. Okay, well, in the country in Texas, in the country in Maine, like where in the country? So we're very vague about what we even want. And you might be able to see it clearly, like I see myself in my ideal day, and you've probably even done exercises like what's my ideal day and all that. But it's not specific. And that's the way what asking powerfully means. It doesn't mean like you should give me this. It doesn't mean that kind of powerfully. It means powerfully meaning be specific and be target a very specific ask. And one of the ways that we can certainly be more specific in our ask is to, well, number one, ask, but what is it that you want? Would you like to be my coaching client? Or would you like to purchase 5,000 widgets? Or I just had some upholstery cleaned. Would you like to have all your chairs cleaned or just the 6? Guess what? They walked out having done 9 chairs, even though I only hired them to do 3. Why? Because they said, look at all these chairs you have here. This one looks dirty. So we're not asking powerfully. And some of us aren't asking at all. You mentioned earlier about how one way people feel stuck is because they are not asking for help. And that is a very classic way to not ask, which is don't ask people for help. Other people that can be very helpful in many ways. And so these are all the ways that asking is going to start you on your journey. And of course, there's more with the giving and receiving, but I'll pause for a moment to see if you had any thoughts or questions.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that a lot of the time people don't want to ask for help because they feel, I guess, embarrassed. There's that weakness or imposter syndrome coming in, that asking somebody for help is a sign that you don't know what you're doing. One of the key things we have, why we have the Business Behind Your Business podcast, is that a business owner has already encountered those issues that you are facing right now. Mm-hmm. Other people have gone through this. So ask for help. Find out how you can get beyond this situation, because plenty of people are willing to share their experience of how they felt stuck and how they've moved forward. So I think asking, but asking with a purpose is a key. It's not just asking, how do I get out of here? It's like, I need to get out. I need to get more sales. I need an introduction to this person. Do you know someone who could help me?
That's right. That is a really good example, which leads us to the give wholeheartedly part, which is that if you want referrals, let's say, you look around and say, how can I connect you with somebody? So you're actually giving what you want. So giving referrals, giving support, now I'm not big into like trading services. That's not the point. The point is that how can you support if you're looking for support? And the wholeheartedly part is really about freely giving so that others can benefit. And that's because you want more referrals. So what you want to do is create more referrals in the world. By giving referrals, you're giving more. And that just creates more. So it's an abundance principle, because the idea, a lot of the reason why people feel stuck is they're stuck in scarcity thinking. There's not enough. There's not enough money. There's not enough clients. There's not enough referrals, etc. And by going and finding other people to refer people to, you actually experience the abundance of the fact that actually there's quite a few referrals out there. I just am giving them, not receiving them yet.
Yeah, no, it's great to start thinking that. And I think certain industries are doing this really well. In general, and I'm generalizing here, that certain industries are embracing this abundance approach more. I think industries like accounting and legal are perhaps stuck in the old ways of guarding their clientele very closely and not wanting to collaborate or share or even get the best result by using somebody else's skills. But I think that a whole abundance mentality, if you start thinking that there is lots of opportunity, and by giving, I'm going to actually create a bigger pool of opportunity, more out there, because growth creates more growth, but scarcity means there's less to go around.
I have a really great story about giving. I live in New York City. I own a townhouse, and it was one of the most challenging things that I ever did was navigate the process of buying this townhouse. It's a much longer story than I'm going to tell you right now, but suffice to say that we made an offer, the offers was accepted, and 1 month later, we still did not have a signed contract. And my sister, I have 2 sisters, and they're both amazing, supportive. And my sister called me up and she said, I think I figured out what the problem is. I said, please help me, because it was so frustrating. We were so frustrated by this. She said, you have to give house. I said, okay. So I went on Habitat for Humanity. I don't know if you have that in Australia, but Habitat for Humanity is like they build houses for people who don't have money and or whatever. They go into hurricane areas and they help fix and they build houses. So I went on and I contributed $100 to Habitat for Humanity. And now this is in the days, it's a little while ago, where a faxes, where you would receive things through fax. And as I was sitting there, this was 6:00 on a Friday night, where I was like, another week went by, and I donated the $100. And then I just let it go. And as I was sitting there, the fax machine started going zzz, and the contract came in. And this is after waiting for a month, getting no indication whatsoever that the contract was being signed, no communication. And because I created more house, literally, by donating this $100, it came in. And after that, man, I was all about giving house. I was helping my mother-in-law clear out her house. See, it didn't matter. It wasn't just about giving money. It was about creating the space of more in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah. So more, create more. There's more to go around. There's more opportunity, and you will benefit from it as well.
That's right.
And look, the third string of what you've mentioned there, the receive graciously. I'm interested in that. What you mean by that specifically?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody says, "Oh yeah, I want money, and I want time freedom, and I want whatever." And actually, most of us, not everyone, but most of us are not good at receiving. And you can get clues about this, how, quote, good of a receiver you are, by noticing even small things. So I gave a friend of mine a ride we were going away for the weekend, and I gave her a ride. And when we filled up with gas on the way back, she saw that it was $35. She said, I'd like to contribute. And I said, okay. First of all, I always say yes when someone offers money. Yes. Not a bribe, obviously, but you know what I mean. She offered to pay for gas. I did not say, oh, no. And then so it was $35. And so she said, so I'm going to Zelle you $50 right now. And I was like, $50? What? Why 50? And then I said, stop talking, Liz. But I did say, but it was $35. She said, no, but it was two ways. Anyway, it was plenty of money, but I just noticed how I immediately was trying to make that smaller. And people listening may be like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, you should have said no. But I say I want money, and she's offering money. I didn't tell her to give me $50. She offered it. So thank you. Why are we not saying thank you when people offer us gas money, for example? So compliments, different things. So if you want to know what your context for receivability is, look at your bank account, because you have received exactly as much as you have currently in your world. And if you want to receive more, think about how you can expand that context of receivability. And even myself, who truthfully really practices this, when she said $50, I was like a little taken aback. Like that seemed like a lot to me. So that's a clue that I have limitations to how much I believe money should be flowing to me. And it's not just money, it's clients. How many of you out there get some money, you get $500 and then your car breaks down? Okay. So we thought we got $500 money, but actually you go to the mechanic and he or she says it's $500. Right? So we have these ways of keeping abundance, especially money abundance, small. And the way to expand it is looking to see what is there for you to receive, saying yes and thank you. I don't want to say the word just, and being open to receiving it. Guess what? Jeff Bezos has an incredibly large capacity to receive. How do I know that? He's a billionaire. And it's not just him. Obviously, there's other people too. So that's what it is.
Great. Fantastic. And look, so we've gone through some really core ways to move beyond being stuck in your business. And I think the starting point is to actually identify your style and what's holding you back. And you mentioned the quiz earlier. If you just want to mention, how do we take the quiz? Where do we find the quiz? How do we get in touch with you?
Well, first of all, Liz Wolfe Coaching. So this Wolf with an E, lizwolfecoaching.com. And if you just do /quiz, you'll get to it. If you just go to my website, there's a pop-up. Everybody loves pop-ups. And you can just jump in and take the quiz. And it's like a 5-minute quiz, but it's remarkably accurate. And it has a lot of immediate content that you get, which is about your style and then what parts of your style work against you. And then, of course, you get more content after that, lots of good content.
Very good. And there's also some really good content on Liz's website as well. And if you want to find out what that is, go to Liz's website, which we'll put in the show notes. It'll also be on the businessbehindyourbusiness.com website. And make sure that you do go there and take the quiz and particularly understand where you are at the moment and why you're not making progress. Liz, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much.
I've learned a lot. I've been making copious notes as we've been speaking. lots of gold nuggets there to implement. And really, I think the key is we're looking at an abundance mentality that we need to approach here. We tend to restrict ourselves by, I guess, the way that we think about ourselves, and we put limits on ourselves. But let's transform that and move beyond where we are at the moment. And Liz has given us some great tips on how we can do that today. So Liz, thank you again for being on the Business Behind Your Business.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Business Behind Your Business. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and valuable for your business journey. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with fellow business owners who could benefit, and send in your burning questions because we love hearing from you. Missed any of our previous episodes or looking for additional resources to help grow your business? Head over to our website at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. There you'll find our full archive of past episodes along with show notes, transcripts, and links to valuable resources mentioned in each episode. Your journey to business success continues at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. Until next time, stay inspired, stay informed, and keep building the business of your dreams.